Hi, everyone. How are you? This is Julia Katsivo, success coach and strategist. I'm here today because I have a very exciting seminar, and we're going to spend about 30 minutes talking about 3 ways to dynamic sales conversations. Welcome. You're in the right place. Thank you for signing in. You're about to learn how to think about sales conversations and what to do with your sales conversations. So once more, I'm Julia Katsivo. I am a career transition success coach. And so what I do is I help professionals just like you successfully transition from your 9 to 5 or your full-time corporate job and into your dream life, which is your entrepreneurial leanings. So if you have products and services, then you're in the right place. If you find that you have some trouble with one of the main things that are needed with business life. So you're here because you're awesome, first of all. You have amazing solutions for people's problems. Let's not get that twisted. And the truth is, because you're awesome and you have amazing solutions, you can't stand selling and you can't stand being sold to. This is just something that you grew up with, and your social settings, everything has just led you to believe that selling and being sold to is just not fun. It's not funny. You don't like being a recipient of it. You don't want any part of it. You're also here because you want the blueprint to help you get through the sales conversations. It doesn't matter what you think about selling. It doesn't matter how you feel about being sold to. The truth is, selling is the lifeblood of your business, and you will need to have those sales conversations. And you're here, you want to learn how to get past the acts of not having sales conversations or not closing on the conversations and actually making sales, of not even knowing where to begin with finding the people to have those conversations with. So you're in the right place, and I'm going to do my very best here to help you. The first thing we want to know is, what are sales conversations? And, sometimes you're going to hear prospecting or different terminologies that are used out there. For the purpose of this webinar, we're going to use about 4 of these different definitions. Find the one that speaks to your heart. This is a communication in which a buy is requested. And so it's one thing to have a conversation with someone that you think could be a good lead or a potential, and then to just finish off the conversation by saying, have a great day, we'll catch up in the next few months or so. That is not a sales conversation. What you have done there is you're building on the relationship. So, at different points in your business cycle, you will have people whom they are not your ideal client at that specific moment. They're not in it to buy something from you, but you want to keep the dialogue going. You want to remain friends. You want to keep it moving, however. So your communication, it must result in you requesting that the other individual buy from you. So a buy is requested. That's a sales conversation. Figuring out what someone wants and where you can help is another way of looking at sales conversations. When you're having these talks with each other, you're listening, and you're listening for the cues that say that they are looking for what you have, and your job then is to fit in the solution to their problem. It results in asking for a buy. Another way to look at this is providing benefits in exchange for a yes. This typically happens when you're speaking with an individual and you find yourself saying, do you think that this could work for you? Do you find that such a solution could work for you? Do you think that you could use such a system, could use such a product? Would such a service lighten your load, save you some money, make you work faster, give you more freedom? When you provide benefits, you are looking for that yes, because the yes comes with an exchange of money. So we're not just asking, we're not just listing off benefits so that we can say, okay, that's great. I'm glad that you agree. I agree too. Okay, have a good day. It's the next step, which is asking for the buy. And another way that I've listed on here that you could look at sales conversations is a conversation that ends with a sale. And that pretty much wraps up, what the 3 above points are trying to say, which is whatever it is that you're doing, the conclusion that we want here, the conclusion that is favorable to us in our situation, is to get the person to say yes and hand over the credit card or make that purchase based on your system, however that goes. The main thing is that the money is requested for solutions, and you are the one who initiates, for the most part, or concludes the sales conversations by requesting money. Before we go into all this, I'm going to quickly touch on who I am. I am Julia Katsivo. I am your career transition success coach and strategist. I'm also a motivational speaker. I'm actually an award-winning entrepreneur. And what I do, I love to help people just really figure themselves out, their direction, where they're going, come up with a plan, a strategy, and the systems and processes that will enable the individual to achieve their goals. For many people, they want to successfully transition into the entrepreneurial lifestyle so that they can start generating revenue that's going to support them. And I am passionate about these types of people because I see the things that stop us on the way to our goals, and it breaks my heart. And so I'm in here so that I can help clear away some stones, make the road a little bit less foggy, help you up so that you can get to your next place. And this comes from this particular seminar that I'm doing right here, comes from me working 17 years. I worked 17 years in the private and I worked in marketing, research, collection, sales, strategy, project management, communications, name it. What I did is I learned the systems that were used with the different corporations, and I use those systems for myself. So if you are just joining us, welcome. I am here to help you learn the 3 ways to dynamic sales conversations. And we were just getting to the part where I was saying a little bit more about who I am and what I do. Before that, we were looking at some of the reasons why you're here with us, and we determined that it's because you're awesome and you have amazing solutions for people's problems. And that the truth is you don't like selling, you don't like being sold to, and you would like to know the blueprint to doing this. You'd like to know how to do this so that you can go on successfully on your journey. If you have any problems at all with viewing the PowerPoint, please let me know. There is a chat box that you can type in, and if you can please type in and just say, I'm here, I can hear you, I can see you, that would be great. I appreciate it. So I will keep going. And I seem to have lost my video. That's okay. Excellent. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay. So the part where I was at was explaining who I was and why I'm doing this. And the reason being that 17 years in private and public sector, in a whole lot of the different industries, and I have learned their systems, and that's what I use for myself. The reason I do this is because I hate seeing people struggle. It really breaks my heart when I see people struggle to just move forward. It just sucks because we end up quitting and we end up going back to the 9-to-5s that don't really work out for us. I know what clueless feels like. You know, I transitioned from an office environment that is so completely different from the business life. And I transitioned over a long period of time. I started at the end of 2010. If I had gotten more coaching or looked into the different programs such as this, I would have been able to do things faster, but I didn't know any better then. And so that's what I try and do now is save a lot of that heartache and worry and wasting time and wasting money. I also know what defeat tastes like. Before I got to this point, I went through many different things that I tried out and were not successful. I felt pretty hard. You know, we're talking about, let's say, for example, living in a really nice apartment and moving into a basement at an age where you didn't quite think that that's the way that you would go. And then really working it out so that from that point I moved into a house that I actually own. And so I know how to quickly recover from these various failings and how to make them some of my greatest stepping stones. Another example for this is right about the same time that I was quitting smoking. I took that time to drop a few other bad habits that I had that I didn't care for. I figured that I was going to go through a rough time anyway. I might as well get rid of a bunch of stuff at the same time. And the reason I did this was so that I wouldn't leave smoking and then have to deal with something else along the line. I knew that I was walking into my own business and that I wanted to have as much of my focus and the right habits in place before I went in. And so I know that systems work. They've worked for me, they continue to work for me, and they are part of my long-term game plan. And that's why I believe so much in this. So we're going to go straight into 3 ways to dynamic sales conversations, and we're going to talk about mindset, lead sources, and during the phone call. The first thing we're going to talk about is mindset. And if you can't hear me at all, please just let me know, because it's really important that you hear me. We're going to talk about mindset. And the first thing I'm going to ask you is, what is your relationship with money? The best thing you can do to figure out your relationship with money is to think about money when you were growing up. What was that relationship like, if at all? Parents used money the way they used it. They talked about money the way that they talked about it. What do you remember about those situations? And what of those habits did you take and carry on to today? So I'll just give you a moment if you want to just quickly write down a thought or two. The language that we use around money is really powerful, and it does a lot more than just just happen to be words that we use. It determines our future. It does determine our future with money and how it's going to work out. So when we think about sales conversations, we have to think about the fact that we're talking about money. And what is the language that we use when we talk about money and we talk about ourselves and we talk about other people? Think about the way you feel when you're asking for money. What feelings are associated with that? Do you feel like you're a cop-out, a sellout? Do you feel like you're not worth it? Do you feel like you have to over-deliver? Do you feel like you're letting someone down because that's not the way you were raised? Think about the language that you use when you're asking for money. If you were asking someone for a sale, what words would you use? Would you use the words investment? Would you use the words cost? Think about the types of languages that you use and how you feel about asking and receiving money. This will tell you a lot about your current relationship with money, as well as why maybe the sales conversations are not going as great as we would like them to be, or at the level that we need them to be, so that we can generate the money that we need to come into our home from our business. While you're at it, understanding that mindset changes, we need a lot of outside help. I mean, you can only do so much for yourself, right? I would ask you to invest in books and personal development material that deal with money mindset. I'm not saying subscribe to everything that you read. Don't just take everything and say, this is what they said and this is what's going to give me that millionaire mindset. Not at all. You can use your value system and you can use your core beliefs to help you determine what it is about money mindsets that you're going to accept for yourself and what it is that you won't. And that's what I would encourage you to do, is to just really fill up on books, fill up on articles, fill up on videos, and ask yourself these questions over and over again. What's your relationship with money? What language do you use around money? How do you feel about asking for money? How do you feel about receiving money? Get to the heart of it. Get your aha moment, and that will allow you to know, what it is that you think about money and how you feel. Yes, thank you for asking. One of the biggest books to read is the Think and Grow Rich. It's been around since 1937, and many people have read it maybe once. I know I read it a few years ago once, and then after that, recently, I've read it 3 times. I have a copy of that book. And the truth is, with any one of these books, every time you read it or every time you listen to it, you get another perspective that you just never had before. It's very difficult to understand this concept if you come from a religious background such as myself. So coming up from a deeply religious background, I felt very conflicted getting a money mindset, but I knew that something had to change because I wasn't making the kind of money that I needed to make to sustain myself. And I wasn't interested in a 9-to-5 lifestyle. So what I do is I keep my core beliefs, I keep my value system, and I don't run away from perhaps the different environments in which I may feel conflicted. I face them. I say, what is it about this information that disturbs me? And I go through it, and I make sure to do that so that I am unified internally. And when I'm unified, then it doesn't cost me anything to ask for money because I don't have a double mind about it. And that's why the mindset is so important. The second thing is the lead sources. So where are you getting your information from? And a lot of times you're going to go out and look for strangers in different networking groups, but you could always start with what you already know and what you already love. When I was starting out, I mean, it was hard going out to strangers and talking about what I did. I barely knew how to articulate the benefits. But I found that anytime I talked to people that I already knew and loved, or people who were in situations and environments in which I knew and loved about them, we ended up having conversations. And the conversations came before what I did for a living. And so that was like a smooth progression into what do you do, and then having that sales conversation. So if you love to ski, then you want to go out into a network where you have your women who love to ski, and it's from there that you're going to get some of your best clients. Think about it in that sense. You know, start off with what you already know and what you already love. If you already love social media, then start there. Go on social media and just kill it. Start with what is familiar to you, because you're going to learn a lot of things that are not familiar and a lot of things that, you know, just not good and not gonna take you places. So start with what you already know and love, and that is going to help you determine what's working and what's not. You can take some of those principles to the outside world. The thing about networking sources, we have to be very careful. A lot of people will say that they have a lot of network sources, for example, because on Facebook they have 5,000 contacts, on LinkedIn they have, you know, over 500 or 1,000, and on the email list. But not even a single one of those people will show up for their network events. And so we must be very careful not to get caught up in numbers. What we want is a level of engagement, and we want to invest in books and personal development courses on networking that help us determine what is a quality networking event and how to approach it and make it so that it works. I'll give you a little bit more information on that later on. What do we do during the phone calls? Because the phone calls have to be made. Let's start with that mindset. Remember, we said number one was the mindset. It's really, really, really important to start with a mindset. You know, before you panic about having to make any calls tonight or calls tomorrow or calls the next day, put that on hold and tell yourself, I am going to take time out and really get to the heart of how I feel about money. Without getting to the heart about how you feel about money, nothing is going to succeed for you, because you'll always self-sabotage. So just take that time out and don't give into that feeling of panic that might say, oh no, but I need to make calls, I need to make money, I need to make business. Say first things first. First do the mindset aspect of it. And then after that, you're going to look into your network. You're going to start making connections with what you love and what you know. And I'll talk a little bit about that later on. And then you're going to initiate a conversation. This is the secret to great dynamic sales conversations. Listen, just listen. And I mean listen, not listen for, oh, this is the problem I'm going to sell. No, just take a huge chunk of time in telling yourself to be still and to listen. Because when you listen, you will get all the information that you need. People love to be heard, and people will always tell each other what they need. We're always telling each other what we need. We may not hear it or want to hear it, but we always will, you know? You might say, I'm hungry, and then ignore that sentence. But right there, you just told yourself what you need, food. So we're always telling each other what we need. And that is what I have found has worked for me time and time and time again. I just listen. And I don't really panic about the time spent on the call, because what I do is I'm in tune with my own process and knowing that I need to go quickly from one end to the other. And so I do take control of the conversation by listening, but by asking a lot of questions that will help me determine, number one, is this a right fit? Number two, can I help in any way? Number three, do I want to work with this person? Number four, let's ask for the sale. So listening and asking a lot of questions. And you'll notice that what these two things do is it gives the power to the other individual to just really speak, and just really speak about what the concerns are and what that person is looking for. And that then gives you the ability to suggest solutions as easily as you would someone just asking you for help, because we turn it then into a conversation where it's not, I'm here to sell to you. It becomes a conversation of, oh my gosh, I know where I can serve you. This is really great. I have the solution for you. Now, we were talking about networking, and the reason about networking is because networking is where you're going to get majority of your leads. Networking is going to be the fuel. Now, if you know, I did say that the sales conversations drive your business, but without networking, you don't get the leads. Without the leads, you don't get the sales conversations. So your net worth equals your net worth. Your network equals your net worth. When you have weak networks, you will realize that you have weak sales conversations. You have the wrong people in your networks, people who are not interested in what you have to offer and what you're doing, people who will not give you the money that you're asking for. So it's really important to know, you know, who is the person that you need to speak with, and then to target that person as well, who has access to your ideal client, and then to target that person. And this is something that can't be done in a day, but it can be done with some help. So I do have a special offer for you that I am very excited to share with you. You're going to love this. You're going to love this. I came from 17 years sitting in cubicles, networking with only the people that I had to network with for my job. Right? And then I go into this world where I am one in 15 billion other people doing the exact same thing I'm doing, except they had client lists, they had prospects, they had leads, they had people to go to, they had networks they were already involved in. What was I going to do? Well, I became an avid networker. Not only did I become a networker, but I became someone who created my own events, someone who created conferences, someone who routinely creates a lot of different environments in which I get different people to come in. And it's from those events that I get paid. I get paid. And what I'd like to offer you is an opportunity to learn what I do so that you can do it too. On September 23rd, 2016 at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for 1 hour. It's an online webinar, and you get a free forever recorded version. You learn to find quality networking events to attend, and even host your own, because that's where the money is. Getting people together and then educating them and inspiring them to take action. You learn how to make lasting connections, the kind where, you know, you have that initial contact, but it's not lost. You don't lose the opportunity down the line for more business from that individual. You get the blueprint to follow-ups, because the money is in the follow-ups. You will have the individuals who will pay you right off on the spot from the networking. However, what you want is to build the relationships in the follow-ups, and what you want to do is to continually follow up so that you get the person to get that awesome solution from you. And you're going to learn how to convert leads into sales. It's pretty dynamic. Now, this is valued at $49.99 plus HST, but why I'm really excited about this opportunity is because I slashed it by 80%, and it's $9.99 plus HST. You know, for $10, you get the live seminar. So you come on, you speak with me, have your questions ready. You get a free recorded copy to keep forever, and you learn 3 ways to make money from networking. So I want you to go reserve your space now. Webinar networking tips, eventbrite.ca. You want to do this because this is September 2016. We want to get the tips that I give you and the strategies, and you want to start practicing them because it's going to take you a little bit of time to get into the gist of it. And by the time you do, and you have that concrete thing going, it's going to be 2017, and you'll have that really strong start. So again, the beauty about this is that you get to find your quality networking events to attend, and you get to find the types of events that you can host. And that's where you're going to start generating your leads. That's where you're going to get the people for your sales conversations. We mentioned things that you love and surroundings and people that you love. You get to attract that. You get to attract the ideal kind of person that you want. And there are a few questions that I ask that will help you get to the heart of your ideal client. So it's going to help you out a lot in that sense, so that you're not just, going through networking events and creating networking events without an idea about who you want to go for. You want a really strong start here. You're going to form lasting connections. There are people whom I have met through my networks, and we've gone on to partnerships. You want to form those partnerships with people so that they can help you with their list and you can help them with your list. You can help each other with your strengths. And where you're weak and the person is strong, it just makes for a really unified, strong team. And the webinar will teach you how to convert leads into sales. It takes place on September 23rd, 2016 at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's on a Friday. But if you are not available for that online session, which will break my heart, but I get it, you will receive a version of the copy just for you, and you get to keep it and you get to review it. And I do ask that you review it because you get to find out a lot of information about what's taking place and how to do it and how to go about it. Please, please, please consider this. I started off knowing nobody and nothing. Like, I knew no one and I knew nothing. And this is why I'm so passionate about what I do, because I've met so many people who gave up and they went back to 9-to-5s, or they somehow convinced themselves that they can continue to live a life in which maybe it's okay not to make a certain amount of money, but that's not true. That's not true at all. All we need is to work on our mindset and to work strategies. And when we do them at the proper way, the proper time, we get results. And that's really what I want to impress on you, is work on the mindset. Think about your relationship with money, because your relationship with money directly translates to the types of conversations that you have. Take that time out. Don't stress about not making calls if you have to make calls or whom you have to call. First, figure that part out. You need to get clear on your relationship with money, and then write down the parts of your relationship that you could use help with, so that you know what information you'll go out to look for. If you self-worth, then get really specific to it. What does that mean? Do you feel like you're not worthy of receiving money? Do you feel like money is beneath you? Money is evil? Do you feel like money can't be trusted? Do you feel like whatever it is, just write down those thoughts so that you can start looking for help and answers. And then after that, look at your networking. Look at your network, the people you're connected with, the people you're not connected with, and start writing down the different things that you love and the different places you'd love to go. And think about how you can meet people there. And have conversations that first of all start off on mutual enjoyment, on mutual aspects, so that the sales part becomes a natural progression. It becomes a, what do you do, by the way? And because you're not thinking about it, you're going to say it in the most effortless way, and then you're going to listen, because we've agreed that sales conversations, they work out when you listen. When you listen and you ask a lot of questions. Ask the questions you don't know anything about. Don't presume. Really ask, because you'll find out so much stuff, so many interesting things from people, and you'll also discover that you know exactly where your solution fits in for them.